All right. Our next question is about potty training. Okay. And it's a 36-month-old boy still wearing diapers. Everyone else at child daycare is no longer in diapers, and the parent has said they have tried and failed several times to potty train this child. What do they do? All right. Now, potty training itself is it might be a whole stream devoted to it, so it's not going to be a easy question to answer here. But I'll give a very brief overview of how we tackled the potty training and how I potty trained my kids. All right, so when I potty trained my son, we just decided, okay, it's time for him to be potty trained. And we decided like a period of time where it was just dedicated to potty training. That's literally the only thing that we had on our schedule was we're going to be at home. And the only thing we're doing is potty training over the next several days. So we chose like a weekend that was also a holiday so that we had 3 days where I could help my wife with it. And then once she learned how to do it, then she could do it throughout the rest of the week. So the very first day, as soon as he wakes up, we take his clothes off, we put him on the toilet, and he has to pee before he gets off the toilet. So what you're doing is you're making a connection between sitting on the toilet and urinating. That's the whole goal of the potty training in its inception. So during that time, you're giving them as much water as they can possibly drink. You're giving them foods that are high in water content. You're trying to give them a lot of liquid intake so that they have a lot of opportunities to practice urinating. And so as soon as they pee, yay, good job! And then you take them off the toilet. And in the beginning, most of the time, they're going to pee again very quickly because you applied them with so much liquid. So for us, we take them off the toilet. We give them maybe 5 minutes off the toilet. And then we put them right back on again, And we do that throughout that day, throughout the next day, throughout the third day, until the child starts to be able to release really quickly as soon as you put them on the toilet. So there are a couple of things that you're looking for. The first one I mentioned, which is the time that it takes the child to release his liquids decreases over that first couple of days, where the first time might take the longest time, or in the very beginning stages, it might take hours before they'll learn to release it there. And then the second thing that you're looking for is when they're off the toilet, you're slowly increasing the time that they're off the toilet and not having any accidents when they're off the toilet. And so what you're trying to do when they're on the toilet is get them to release, right? Which means you might be turning on the faucet. You might even have them play with some water in front of them so that it gets them like, okay, I'm just going to release. And you're teaching them to control the release of their urine. And so across the days, you're slowly increasing the time that they're off the toilet, while their time on the toilet also starts to shrink. Why? Because they're learning to urinate on control. So this is actually my son's potty training log. Okay, so we have the date in here, the time that we put him on the toilet, what kind of response, so this is a bit more complicated. So I'll just give a quick summary of what these designations mean. So the designations here are down here. So this filled in means it's a successful poop. Half slashed is a successful pee, and X is a poop accident, a slash is a pee accident. All right, so let's take the 25th as our example. So on the 25th, we put him on the toilet at 10:07. So he had a successful pee. So, and he finally peed at 11:15. So he spent an hour and 8 minutes total on the toilet. And then after that, he had a poop accident, and then he had a pee accident. All right. So that's what happened there. But for us, what we're trying to do is like, okay, you're like a lot of time you're guesstimating like, oh, okay, how much time off? When do I bring them back? And so in the beginning, you're trying to time off is very short, time on is really long. And so it kind of changes as the child gets better and better with the potty training. Okay, so I think we started potty training in May 24th of 2015. And then we stopped taking data on it after June 13th of the same year. So you can see from the data here, he's having all successes and no accidents across 3 consecutive days here. So by the last couple of days, the longest that he's taken to pee is 4 minutes. In the last 3 days, 13 minutes was the longest that it took him before he peed. But most of them, he's with less than a minute, he's already having urinated. So, so with that stuff, the thing is, when I tell people to take data, I take data myself, so this is data for my own kids. Because why? You want to kind of know you're tracking things, and as parents, you lose a lot of brain cells when you first have kids. Why? Because you're so tired, you're so sleepy. Keeping track of stuff is really hard. And so that's why it helps to actually have a physical record of it, because then you know, okay, where was I before? Where are we now? How do we proceed going forward? All right. So I think that's about as much detail as I should probably get into here. I'm pretty sure that we'll end up going over potty training in one dedicated stream. So look out for that in the future then. Now, if you try it and you encounter any kind of difficulties, just comment in the streams, ask us additional questions, and we'll try to answer them before whenever that potty training stream occurs.